What's going on, baby? Welcome back to another week of the Sling'n Proffet podcast. As always, I am your host, Sling, joined by my co-host, Proffet. Excuse me, you gotta excuse my voice. I'm a little hoarse today. We started camp this week, so doing a little bit of yelling out there on the football field. But all in all, a pretty good week. How's your week been, man?
My week's been brutal. I've had a down week, buddy. Hardly even want to talk about it. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I guess I got to fill everybody in. Yeah. I lost a sibling this week. Her husband took her to the hospital and couldn't remember her blood type. Her last words were "be positive," and yeah, it's going to be hard without her. But yeah, Mrs. Proffet's mad at me now too. She said I ruined her anniversary. I mean, I didn't even know it was today. How could I have ruined it? It's been a rough week down here. Yeah, I'll get through it though. I'll get through it.
Yeah,
the show
sounds like
I was waiting for the show tonight. I needed it.
Proffet, it sounds like you're having a tough week, man. I don't know if anybody picked up on your humor there. I don't know if I did or not, but it kind of went over my head a little bit. But I imagine it was funny to some people. But nonetheless, we had a huge week of NFL football that we're going to talk about. Preseason, we had a lot of debuts this week. Guys that were draft picks that made their early debuts in the preseason. We got a lot to talk about in that regard. We're going to break down the NFC East tonight, which is always a fun topic. Obviously close to our hearts with the Eagles being right in our backyard. Well, my backyard, not necessarily your backyard. And it's always, always fun. And guess what? We got the weekly roundup back tonight, Proffet. I know that's your favorite time.
Buddy.
That's your favorite time of the week because we get to hear that sweet, sweet background music. We got a couple games that we're going to cover. And listen, I'm not too proud to admit when I'm wrong, Proffet. And I was wrong about a couple performances this week, and we'll talk about that later. But there were some guys out there that I didn't think were going to impress me that impressed me. I know it's tough to impress you because you say, hey, it's only preseason, and some of these guys are going to be bagging groceries in a couple weeks, so you can't really determine, how well somebody did off of these preseason games. But listen, if I have to eat crow a little bit, I will, and we'll talk about it later as we get into our weekly roundup segment about some guys that impressed me and a lot of injury news, but we got a lot to cover tonight.
Big show tonight.
Yeah, big show. We got a special guest tonight, Proffet. Let me tell you about it. High school football season in New Jersey is 2 weeks away from today. Opens up August 29th. And everybody always talks about, Florida and Texas high school football. But I bet, did you know that we have in New Jersey one of the biggest high school football showcases probably in the country? I would go out there and say right here in our own backyard. Did you know?
Well, I knew about the big showcase weekend and all. Yes. I mean, I don't know how other states are, how it compares, whether, but I know what's going on in 2 weeks is a big weekend. And it just started recently, right? Like maybe
a couple years ago. I know, no, not even 10 years ago. And we'll let Mike talk about it when we're going to have Mike McEwen, who's local head coach in South Jersey. He's going to be joining us here in a couple seconds, and he's on the executive board of the Battle at the Beach Football Classic. And you know what? I'm just going to bring him in now and let him kind of, talk about it and like I said, we cast a wide net here at the Sling'n Proffet. So it's good to get the word out to national audience. And Coach, man, welcome in, and I appreciate you being a part of the podcast tonight. And I'm looking forward to talking to you about this huge event that's going down here in 2 weeks in Ocean City.
Thanks, man. Glad to be on it, man. I've been trying to get on your show for a couple of years now. I thought for like a year now.
I've had a couple podcasts. So this one has been the one that's been taken off the most. So we're excited. I don't know if you saw, Coach, but we got sponsored last week by Jug Handle Inn. So we're pretty excited. Yeah,
we're getting some wings out there too.
Oh yeah. So we have a game of the week segment every week, and Jug Handle Inn is proud sponsors of our game of the week segment. And anybody who hits the game, the score of the game will get sent a gift card to them. So
Oh, wow.
We're excited to team up with them. You know how delicious their food is and all. But
Oh, yeah.
talk about the Battle at the Beach Football Classic, and kind of, and I know Prophet touched on it. It's been a recent event. What year are we going into now, Coach?
This will be our fourth year. Hosting it. Yep, down in Ocean City. So it's been it's taken off like no one ever thought that would take off. When we put it together, we were just looking for maybe 1-2 year showcase and trying to get our kids out there and show that South Jersey football can compete with teams from out of state, from anywhere. And it's just skyrocketed. It's all over the place. I get emails running the association's email site from teams. I got one today from team in Texas that wants to come in next year. So it's
sure.
It's taken off, and it seems like it's the reasons that we've started is paying itself out to give the money. We give a lot of money back to charity and scholarships for our kids for the Touchdown Club. We saved a couple organizations, and this year is going to be special because we're bringing back the Hall of Fame for South Jersey football coaches. So we're introducing 4 new members from the Hall of Fame, and it's we haven't had that in the last, I think, 6 years. So the money we raise allows us to do this kind of things for just for South Jersey football and especially our kids. It's a good thing, and it's iconic Joe Carey Stadium in Ocean City. That's how it started out. How we got
let me bring that up here. I got a picture of it here. And for those of you who don't, who've never seen this stadium, just take a look at this picture here on the screen. I mean, what more of a beautiful backdrop could you get for a high school football game than Ocean City, New Jersey? You got the coastline right there. You got at nighttime, you got the Ferris wheel lit up in the background of the stadium. The stands are packed. And Coach, like you said, you got teams from all over the country contacting you to play in this event. And you're talking about they're on August 15th, 2024. They're trying to get into this event for next year already.
Oh yeah, we got. We get some. We try to reach out to get some big names and so on and so forth. The problem we run into is out of states is when they start compared to when we start. So, New Jersey is we're always a step behind. So we're starting later. And some of these schools they start, on their game 3 or 4. So they're already in the divisional round, games where they have to play. So it's hard to get them to get in the same kind of schedule as us, but. We have a team from California last year wanted to get in, but just didn't work out. Ohio, Ted Ginn Jr., his dad's team from Ohio wants to get in it. So it's taken off bigger than I can keep up with, to be honest with you. It's tough getting up matchups for it because when we first started it, I wanted all of our South Jersey teams in the West Jersey Coaches Association, our league, to play a game. But my goal was to get everybody to play a game outside of state, not a team that's in our own, conference, because I wanted our guys to get experience. And, for a team like myself and a team like yourself, we're in a small school. So for us, our kids don't get to experience that, 1. And 2, it proved that, South Jersey football is very underrated. We've been underrated from the North Jersey for so many years, and, there's a lot of talent here. So that was the whole how we got it started. And, obviously, teams like Millville playing the state champs from PA out by Pittsburgh and them beating them. And, it's just helped us, prove our point. And it's also brought in so many more teams wanting to do this. There's a team like Downingtown who came in 2 years ago, Nottingham, every year they reach out to me. We got to be back in this. We got to, the atmosphere was exactly what we want, and it's just hard to find those guys matchups. You know what I mean? That's a big part of it.
How tough is it for these guys who want to get back in? I was fortunate enough to get in. I think the first year or second year. I think we played.
That was Sunday.
Right, and that was a whole nother story in itself. We were excited to play, but we were playing a team. Where I was coaching, we were playing a team in Moorestown that. It wasn't that marquee matchup, but it was that South Jersey matchup that you guys also fill the schedule with. You're talking about 13, 14 games over the course of 3 days. It's almost unheard of. And at the time, it was at the same location. And I know you guys are going to bounce around locations this year due to whatever the circumstances.
This year, next year, we're going to be this year, next year, we'll have to bounce around between Ocean City and Egg Harbor just because of the timing of when we start our season. Then we'll be able to get 6 straight years back at Ocean City. But yeah,
Awesome.
we also wanted to help the programs like myself and like Collingswood, that's a small school, would like to find a game that can get my kids some, notoriety. So it wasn't just and jumpstart your program. You know what I
Sure.
mean? So like if you play in this games, like you have a chance to jumpstart your program. It wasn't just about our best teams. It's easy to do like put your best teams in there. But like I always try to tell people, like this year I think we had a total of 146 teams that wanted to be in it. And
Yeah.
it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? Like it just takes, you know what I mean? As a high school coach, it's hard to get one coach to agree to play another coach. You know what I mean? Like everyone's
And
chasing
it's not even just the coaches agreeing to play. It's the, you got stuff that goes into it with the schools, and the school board's got to sign off on it and stuff like that. And that was a question I was going to ask you. How difficult would you say, okay, this year you get a small school in to do maybe a local game, but would you say that school, hey, this is your year to showcase, and then you're probably not going to be back next year until it comes around for a couple more years because we are in such demand? Would that be fair to say? Or
yeah. So so I try to do like me and the committee with the scheduling is we try to get X amount of small schools, and then we would reach out to them. Like I always try to tell you, find a game that you would want to play. You know what I mean? As our own West Jersey team. You know what I mean? Go try to find us a game from a team from North Jersey, South. Wherever you want to play. And then I'll reach out to them and see if they want to play the game or not. You know what I mean? Because then, like I said, it takes two. And some of you said it's not easy with ADs. ADs don't want to be driving to Ocean City. Some of these schools are coming, you got schools coming from way up in North Jersey coming down here. So there's something, they're staying in Atlantic City. So then we try to find that kind of matchup for them. And we usually tell them, like, look, this is probably, your last chance getting it for a couple of years, because at the end of the day, the bigger schools sell tickets. You know what I mean? And
sure.
people don't realize how hard it is to run this event.
I got the schedule up here, Coach, if you can see it. I mean, you're talking about how many games do you have? 13?
Yeah, we're going this year. We got 14 games.
14 games over the course of 3 days. You're starting at 10 a.m. on Thursday, August 29th, and you guys aren't finishing until 7:30, or probably, 10 or 11 o'clock when the final whistle blows on Saturday the 31st. I mean, you're talking about marquee matchups throughout the state, some within the state of New Jersey, and some with that, or elsewhere. Talk to us a little bit about the marquee game here that people are going to be able to watch on national television here on Thursday night.
Yeah, so IMG's got Bergen Catholic Friday night. Coach Miller from IMG is a local guy. Went to Delran. Actually coached against him when he was at Haddon Heights over there with Timmy George. When Timmy was at Haddon Heights, he was a special teams coach, and I've been I'm close with Coach Miller over the years, and me and him stay talking all the time. And he wants to come back up here because it's part of his roots. And he thought last year, I don't know if you guys seen the game last year on ESPN, but the last year,
yeah.
If you watched it on ESPN, it didn't even give it there. I've never seen that many people. There's people like standing on the roof at Ocean City watching this game. The crowd was pure insanity. So, they wanted to come. I was shocked. He's like, we want to be back in here this year. It's like so bad. Like his kids loved it. They haven't seen something like that with the boardwalk. And you're talking about a national powerhouse who's, trying to come back every single year. You know what I mean? So for us, gives us opportunities to, one, raise money, get a big national marquee game. And then also what people don't realize, and some people ruffled their feathers, like, oh, it's not a West Jersey team, and so on and so forth. But the money we raise is going to just West Jersey football, you know what I mean, to our kids.
It's not going back down to Florida.
Yeah, so it's not like, we gave IMG not a single dollar to come here last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people
give us a little bit of a look into kind of the logistics that go into getting a team like IMG up here are they, I imagine they're coming up here, they got to be spending a couple days, I'm sure. And now that they're going, and this whole event, the city of Ocean City benefits from the boardwalk and stuff like that. People are going to be visiting the local businesses and stuff like that, but kind of like what are some of the things that go into getting a school like that to get up here? And I guess it's a little bit easier when you got somebody with ties to the area, like the coach from IMG.
Billy comes up. They do a walk. They do a practice at Delran High School, and then they do a walkthrough at Ocean City. This year, rumor has it, Bill Belichick's going to be at the walkthrough in Ocean City.
You
So
guys have McAfee. Isn't McAfee? Didn't he send
he's
out
they're still trying to work on it. But I just don't know the logistics part of it, and on
Sure.
their end, it might not work itself out. But he's going to be promoting it big time and all that kind of stuff. So he is, and Mike Lombardi from the NFL, he'll be there. So
I mean, you saw if you're watching the draft. I mean, you saw like didn't Belichick name drop the event?
Cool. Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. Like people were messing. I wasn't watching at the time. People were messaging like, "Yo, your event just got name dropped on the NFL draft." I'm like, "What event?" Like I thought, like, and then they were like, they kept sending me clips, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Dude. So
I didn't think it was real at first. I was like, "This has got to be some kind of AI thing or something." But dude, like, I was like, "This is big time." And then you see McAfee chiming in and stuff like that. But we'll see if that pans out. But it's going to be a great event. Nonetheless, we got a ton of talent in New Jersey, and like you said, man, the best part about it is it all goes back to the kids in some way, shape, or form. So I'm real excited about the Hall of Fame coming back. I'm excited about, first of all, just the Coaches Association in general. I know there's been talk about possibly bringing back the South Jersey All-Star game, which is sorely missed. I mean, once we lost the Taliaferro game, like, dude, there's nothing in South Jersey.
We're the only county that doesn't have an All-Star game. Like, there's no other thing. So, like, that's next on our agenda. But again, with that, it's just there's so much to it that people don't realize. It's just not that easy to go find kids and pick up an All-Star game. There's so much, the time, you know what I mean? Like there's when should we host it and where, and then, you know what I mean? Everybody has an agenda until all of a sudden you're trying to get it done. So
well, that's right. We would always joke, but when I was working in Cherry Hill, like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. You should take care of that. You know, like you want to head up that committee. You know, but
last year that was a big thing about it. Like we had somebody ready to help Coach Pagic and who's helped try to run and get it, and everybody wanted to hold off. And you know me, I'm trying. Let's go. Like,
that's how I am too.
And they all wanted to form a committee to do it right, and we still haven't even formed that committee. You know what I mean? So now another year, we're back the same year on the same exact stuff because, you know, everybody wants what's best for their own program, but at the end of the day, it's got to be what's best for the West Jersey football, the league itself.
And when
that's one thing they got to understand, like people don't realize is, there would be no touchdown club, without the Battle of the Beach. You know what I mean? Like, so like a lot of people are upset about it. You can't make everybody happy, but the touchdown club who's giving out all the scholarship money, that's coming from us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The banquets, that's coming from us.
Right.
We donated over $50,000 in the last 3 years to Cleft No Palate, like $25,000 to CHOP Children's Hospital. So, the money
that's amazing. And that's all money coming from the event for the most part, right?
That's just attendance. You know what I mean? Just attendance. Sure. We don't sell anything. We don't I try to tell John, we don't want to get that big because I don't want to, I don't know how to do branding. You know what I mean? The whole reason of starting this was just a small thing to give some scholarship money out. But now it's gotten so big that, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's wanting to donate. Let's put it this way, the South Jersey chapter of high school football NFL would have been gone 3 years ago, and we saved them. And Coach Gatling, Mainland's AD, thanks to us all the time. But if it wasn't for the first year Battle of Beach, that whole thing wouldn't even exist.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like we gave them an enormous check to keep them going.
Right.
So,
and you guys, it's not just you guys too. Like there's a ton of sponsors that go into this. You got the Philadelphia Eagles are involved. Are they involved again this year?
Yeah, they love it. They come out.
What's their role? What do they do?
They get the signage and the sign. They bring the cheerleaders. They bring Swoop down there. They try to do one day of it. This year they're going to do the one day in Ocean City.
Mm-hmm.
It's as long as it matches up with their schedule when it comes to camp. But they love every part of it. So every year we try to get a couple of them to do flip the coin. And it's just they feel like it's just something giving back and something they can jump on board and promote themselves. You know what I mean? So
sure, yeah, absolutely.
They do a lot of signage for us, and Joe's a good guy. He does a lot. But it's again, Coach, it's so hard to put these things together and get them to go smoothly.
Yeah.
Like Ocean City is the facility part of it is, it's iconic, and there's nothing like it. Like you said, when ESPN came to us last year and they flew in to do a recon of what the facility, and the guy calls me, he's like, "Yo, Mike, I can't believe the beach is literally 50 yards from the field." I'm like, I told you, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so they didn't believe it, and then all of a sudden they're like, this is an unbelievable setup. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe no one's ever done this.
Yeah.
But like even like organizing them, it's so hard, man. You know what I mean? It's just so hard to get everything to go on the same page. So it works itself out, man. And like I said, like there's some matchups this year. Like I know Bergen Catholic, IMGs, two national teams, but like you got Millville, Holy Spirit, man, Montclair, Winslow. I mean, we're talking about Washington Township and
Northern Highlands, right?
Yeah, man, they're talking about some serious high school football games.
And as we're getting closer, we're 2 weeks out now. We'll kind of wrap up this conversation here. But how do people maybe that didn't know about it, or how do people get involved, or how do people get tickets? Is there any way to get them online?
So this year we go through GoFan. So if you go on GoFan and just click on Ballard Beach Football Classic, one good thing, and you're a part of this, Dan. I mean, Andrew, remember earlier you called me a couple years ago when we were going to try to raise the prices, but you're like, nah, man. So wristband gets you in for the entire day. So you pay $12. You come from day one. You can walk in and out of the facility all day long. So
you pay $12 and you're getting 4 possibly top-notch football games for the entire day. I don't know where you're getting a better price than that anywhere.
You get a wristband, you can walk in and out, you can go on the boardwalk for a little bit, hang out on the beach, go on the rides, and come right back in and watch another game. So the wristbands for the entire day, you get to watch the whole games, come in and out. And then this year we're going to stream the games. I think it's going to be $5.99. Rod from D2 is going to do our streaming. He's only going to do it at the games on day 2 and day 3. And then it's $5.99 for every game. So you can watch all 5 games for $5.99 on day 2 and day 3.
Great.
So
that's great. I mean, you don't get it. You can't get deals like that anywhere, Coach. I mean, with those prices and stuff like that. But
that's why we did try to keep the prices low just for like student body. And when we came back from COVID, we wanted to try to get the fans back, and we did. Like the fans came back in droves, so it worked out. And I just told John, like, let's not switch it, man. We're doing well with it. There's no reason to try to like push people away and try to get it. One last thing I want to say. So, ESPN Sports Center Next is I should have a deal done with them on Friday. So the Bergen Catholic IMG game is going to be the first ever game done on their platform. So they have like 2.2 million TikTok followers and all. So ESPN, it's called Sports Center Next. They're just a big digital platform. They reached out to me. So they're going to have Bergen Catholic, and their game is going to be the first game ever done on that platform. So we're excited, and we'll see how it goes. Sure. And it's going to be a good day, man. Let's hope for no rain.
Exactly.
You had bad luck because you had the worst rain day ever, man.
We had 5 inches of rain, however it was, and I never seen the field physically float away. The field lifted up and floated away, and I was like,
I saw dolphins swimming on a 50-yard line, dude.
I said, I don't think we could play here, so we had to drive back to Cherry Hill and play in Cherry Hill and proceed to get smoked by Moorestown. But hey, you guys heard it. If you want to get tickets for this awesome event, go on GoFan. Tickets are $12 for each day, man. There's no better bargain in town. Coach, before we get you out of here, man, I know you're a big time Eagles fan. We're breaking down the NFC East tonight. What's the prognosis here on the Eagles situation, and where do you see them finishing this year?
I mean, I just don't think the division got any better. I think Dallas has probably gotten worse. They've had a pretty terrible offseason. So I can't buy faith. I mean, the NFL is driven by quarterback league, right? It's just all about the quarterback. So if Jalen plays mediocre like he did last year, you're going to be in a dogfight with Dallas. If Jalen plays like he played 2 years ago, I just don't see how the Eagles don't win the division. I know they're young on defense and stuff like that, but it's an offensive league, and the rules are geared towards offense. And I can't trust the Washington Commanders are going to make a bounce back. So I think the Eagles are sitting in a good spot. You know what I mean? They just they win a division, and anything can happen. Try to get a home playoff game here and there. Are they the best team in the NFC? Who knows? You start out 9-1. I mean, you know how it gets, man. When you get to 9-1, everything's looking good, and all of a sudden you start losing a couple of games, and then
you talk about the Phillies this year. It's the same. It's the same thing with the Phillies.
This is sports. If it gets snowballing the wrong way, it's Coach Folsom told me 20 years ago when we were coaching, I just freshly started coaching. He said in high school football, when the wheels start falling off, it's almost impossible to get it to stop.
Sure.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's same thing with the NFL guys. Like last year, that snowball was impossible to stop, as you can tell. And so I mean, I'm new to coordinators. I think Kellen Moore is very underrated. Even though he hasn't got a head job yet, but it seems like he's something more offensively he's better at, and he doesn't have the attributes to be a head coach yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Fangio, I wasn't, I don't know how that style lasts. You know what I mean? In the NFL, the old school.
Sure.
Smash your head together. Like I went to Eagles practice the other day, literally when the coaches were all allowed to go, and it literally was like an hour and 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like we're me and you are doing practice 2 times.
I mean, I practiced for 2:20 tonight. So
yeah, you know what I mean. So it's
you
can never tell. But like I don't know. I don't think that the East has gotten better, and I just can't. I think I like Jalen Hurts. I think whatever happened last year, is something. But I think he can't be worse than he was last year. And if he's better than he was last year, I can't see the Eagles not winning the division by a couple games. That's just my
There you
opinion.
go. Well, you had it, Coach.
It's safe to say you made our Eagles fans happy and our Dallas fans not so much.
Well, we don't make many Dallas fans happy on this show. Proffet, but
I'm actually. It's funny. I'm not one of those Dallas haters because I was a Deion Sanders fan growing. I'm a Florida State football fan, so like big Deion Sanders fan. So like I wasn't one of those guys that like. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? I didn't like them, but it wasn't like I'm not like one of those kind of. I'm a college sports guy. I watch pro sports, but I'm a diehard.
Yeah, me
the
too.
College atmosphere is, it's nothing like it, man.
I always say there's nothing better than a Saturday at the bar watching the games, man, or Saturday night. It's a great experience.
Yeah, you know how it is, man. Like the 12th man and the crowds. I mean, I know NFL stadiums are rowdy, but there ain't nothing like a college Saturday football game at like Tallahassee or you know what I mean.
100,000 people at Neyland Stadium a couple of years.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And guess what?
Proffet lives 45 minutes from Neyland, so
really?
And
it's probably 60,000 still sitting in the parking lot. You know what
I mean?
Exactly.
Coach, the easy part. Coach, man, I appreciate you being on. I appreciate what you're doing for South Jersey football, for the kids, for the coaches, for everybody, and you guys put on a great event. And I do hope to be a part of it again someday soon. And hey, listen, I'll see you on Monday because we got a big scrimmage against each other on Monday, man. So, hey, I appreciate you joining us, man, and be safe and be healthy.
See you, Papa. Have a good one.
All right, see you. See you, Coach. Wow, that's some stuff that I didn't even know. The amount of money that those guys raise and give back to the community and to the players and scholarships and stuff like that. That's an awesome event. Again, that is the Battle at the Beach Football Classic. Kicks off Thursday, August 29th. It goes all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday. And like Coach said, check them out on ESPN SportsCenter Plus. It's going to be the first live stream game ever from Cary Stadium right here in Ocean City, New Jersey. So that was a fun interview, Proffet, man. I'm looking. That got me jazzed up. Coach had a lot of great insight there. So
I was always under the impression that was an invitation only thing. I didn't know that,
well, it is. I mean, basically it is that he's the one who handles the invitations though. So
well, no, I mean, but other schools are actually requesting to come,
I mean, well, he said he had 144 requests this year. Like,
right.
They're picking and choosing who they want to be there. But nonetheless, great event for, like I said, for the kids. And anytime you can give back in scholarships and everything else that they give back to in the community. He said they donated over $20,000 to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and more. It's a great event. But we're going to move on to our regularly scheduled program. Go ahead.
Hold on a second here, Larry. Let me see. I can't figure that out. Okay.
Yeah,
Larry,
you just leave that. Yeah.
$12 is a smoking deal. Yeah, it is, Larry. We paid $7 a head last week for elementary school jamboree where the kids got to play, 2 8-minute quarters and they were gone.
I didn't realize you had to pay for scrimmages. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, We got an abbreviated "What's Happening" segment because I knew we were going to take some time to talk to Coach, and I'm glad we did. JJ McCarthy out for the season after surgery. This is huge news because I know that I went on a couple weeks ago on a rant about McCarthy not being worthy of a top 10 pick, and I still don't believe that he is. But Prophet, I'll go out on record saying I never want to see somebody get hurt. I never want to see this happen to anybody, and I feel bad for the kid. And I don't know if it happened during the game or if it was a pre-existing thing, but for him to come out and he played well, man. He really played well. He's one of the guys that I was going to come on and praise tonight, and I'm still going to praise him because he did play well. But he will be out for the season, so it looks like it's Sam Darnold's job to lose. We'll see what kind of moves that the Vikings are willing to make, if any, at the quarterback position. But again, unfortunate situation for JJ McCarthy. Unfortunate for the Vikings fans. And what do you got on this injury here?
Well, for starters, that's a terrible picture, man. He looks like LaToya Jackson or somebody there with the way he's set up. But yeah, you know what? Something just doesn't seem right with this Slingn. He got hurt. He didn't know he was hurt. I don't know. I'm wondering if they're going to put anything out. The doctor's probably the only one that can tell how long that meniscus has been torn as bad as it was. So, I mean, did he have this injury prior to? And
yeah, I don't. I'm thinking that it's a pre-existing. We were talking about it a little bit before. I'm thinking it's a pretty pre-existing injury, but who's to say? Who's to really know? In that regard, and I can't imagine we're going to get that information.
Well, as far this works out well for him, though. I mean, obviously not because he had to get operated on and he's out for the year, but they were hoping to have him stand on the sidelines anyhow this year and learn. And now they have no choice. I mean,
were they though? I don't know if that's. I don't know. You drafted him number 10. And he goes out and he plays really well in the first game. And whether you want to say, excuse me, whether you want to say it's against, grocery baggers or not, it wasn't because he started the game. Or he came in. He came in after the first drive, a couple drives, but he wasn't playing against grocery baggers. I think the plays that he made, granted, he threw a pick that was really bad, but some of the plays that he made with his legs looked good. So I can't imagine that they wanted him to sit on the sideline for the whole season.
Yeah, I don't know though. I think if they were planning on bringing a quarterback in to start, I don't know what Darnold's contract looks like, but I don't think you bring somebody in, and pay him that kind of money to knowing that he's going to be a backup. Yeah, I mean, you do that with like a Jacoby Brissett type guy who you ain't really going to pay not a ton of money.
I think there's not much difference other than athletic ability between Jacoby Brissett and Sam Darnold. I think skill wise, they're on the same playing field. But either way, it's an unfortunate situation. You never want to see you never want to see anybody get hurt, but especially top 10 draft pick, especially when moral was high after his game. So more injury news. Hollywood Brown dislocated his collarbone, and I think it was like the first play. I was actually watching the Jaguars Chiefs game because I had a vested interest in it. But I think it was like the first or second play of the game. Hollywood Brown goes down with an injury, and you didn't know it at the time, but they said I put collarbone because it's the easiest to understand, but dislocation of his clavicle, something, and sounds like a pretty serious injury. He can miss up to 6 weeks, I think that they said. But so I mean, he'll be back at some point, hopefully in the regular season. But depletes the Chiefs receiving core a little bit. What do you make of this? Is it a big deal, or you don't think this is going to be a little blip on the radar?
No, this is a big deal. I mean, he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and it's not as bad of an injury as, say, a hammy, where it can linger all year. But I mean, he gets hit hard on that shoulder again, and he's not being operated on. So it's not like they're going to repair the area to where it's going to be stronger. This could hinder him all season. And they were expecting a lot out of him this year. I mean,
Sure.
they don't know what they're going to get with Worthy. They know they're going to get speed, but they have Rashee Rice, and so long as he doesn't go to jail, they'll be fine in that respect.
And not for nothing, like Andy Reid is notorious for taking receivers and making them great somehow. Just plucking them into this offense and putting them in positions to be successful. He's great at that. And I think Hollywood Brown is a big time loss. You say 4 to 6 weeks, but now listen, for those of you who don't know, that collarbone is a sensitive area. So you dislocate it or you break it, even when it heals up, the possibility of doing it again increases. And when you're playing in that position, you're going to get hit, and you're going to get hit hard. So it's it could be a lingering thing, and I think it's a big deal for the Chiefs. Like you said, they don't know what they're going to get out of Worthy, and who knows what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. He had a nice year last year, but who knows? It's tough to tell with the sophomore seasons.
They need somebody to step up now, and I mean, I hate this. I'm a numbers guy. Everybody knows that, okay? And Hollywood Brown this is his third year in a row now that he's not going to play a full season, okay? And when you look at the numbers, okay, it's hard to rely on guys that can't make it through, to say, well, they're injury prone or whatever. That's one you could say that, but it just seems like guys that do get hurt a lot. And Hollywood's, like I said, his third year in a row now, and he's not going to make a full season. And they need somebody to step up. I mean, they got Watson, they got Sky Moore, and they still have that guy from the Giants. What's his name?
Tony.
Oh, yeah,
Tony.
Yeah. So they're going to need somebody to step up here, because this is a big hit for them. They were relying on him, and they can't now.
We're sticking with wide receiver news. The CeeDee Lamb saga. He still hasn't practiced. He hasn't, he's holding out, whatever. There were the reports out there that, Jerry Jones said that there was no urgency to get the deal done. But then Jerry Jones comes out and says that his comments were taken out of context, and he wasn't talking about no urgency to get a contract done. This is one of the top receivers in the league. And I was, like, Jerry Jones is notorious for playing hardball with contracts, and he doesn't have a good track record of them panning out. When is he going to pay the guys that deserve to be paid? And do you think that this could linger on into the season, or do you think CeeDee comes back and he'll be suiting up for week 1? But even if he is, training camp is where you cut your teeth and you get in shape. And well, you should already be in shape, but you get in game speed, you get in game shape. And I just don't, he's already missed 2 weeks now, and there's only 2 weeks left. Do you see this getting resolved anytime soon, or do you think this is going to be a bigger problem than it is?
No, I don't think he's going to be on the field for week 1, because I honestly believe he is not going to play unless he gets a new contract. And if he doesn't get it soon, I mean, history tells us that guys that miss all of training camp because of holdouts and all, they have a tendency of getting injured too. And the further on this goes, I mean, Jerry Jones has a big problem. He's got a bigger problem than just CeeDee Lamb in front of him too, which could be playing into this Sling. I mean, he's got Dak Prescott. He's got Micah Parsons. Next year, I think Trayvon Diggs is going to be up for contract next year. And if I'm not mistaken, they ain't got cap room. So
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I wish I had that cap number, but they do have a lot coming up, and I don't know how they're going to pay everybody. But you really got to look at who Like Parsons, I feel like you have to pay. Like he's one of the
Absolutely. And
best
CeeDee Lamb,
defenders.
you have to pay.
Right. And they're not right now. And he's getting more and more aggravated. And I'll tell you from experience, an angry receiver is not somebody you want on your team because those guys are ready to move on. So he's got to take care of, take care of Jerry Jones has got to pony up and get this deal done. And he even said he did. I don't think he came out and said it, but he's not looking for Justin Jefferson money, but he's looking for similar. And not for nothing, I think he deserves it personally. I mean, nobody deserves that kind of money, but
I mean, if people do, exactly.
Right.
I mean, what do you have? Like 140 receptions last year. He was the only guy they threw the ball to. This is why and I'm going to touch on it later in the show, but they didn't do anything to help this guy either on the field this year.
Well, they didn't do anything to help anybody, and we'll talk about that later.
Right.
But and we're wrapping up our week or our what's happening segment here with more wide receiver drama. They're talking about Ayuk having a trade in place with the Steelers. He rejected a trade to Cleveland. Some people are saying he's not going to go to the Steelers because he's going to stay in San Fran. I don't know what to make of it, but I know that it goes back to the whole CD thing. Like, he's a playmaker. He wants to be paid, and he's not getting paid. He's not happy. Do you see this guy being traded, or do you see him signing a deal? Because he's still showing up to practice, from what I understand, every once in a while.
Now I see him ending up on the 49ers this year, and I think it's probably going to happen soon. He didn't say no to Cleveland. I mean, San Fran said no to Cleveland.
What I was reading was he vetoed the trade because it's I don't know if there's a no trade clause or something, but he didn't want to go to Cleveland. That's what I read.
In a rookie contract, there's no trade clause. But yes, everything I'm saying is that the trade is on the table. Pittsburgh's offered him a second, a sixth, a third, and a sixth, I think, next year. But he wants to play in San Fran, and they're still working, and San Fran needs him. Similar to Dallas. I mean, you got Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel can't stay on the field these past couple of years. You got Jawan Jennings. I mean, do you look at Jawan Jennings as a number one? Hell no.
No.
And then after that, they got the kid from Florida that they drafted, Pearsall, but they really don't have a whole lot after that. They need Ayuk on that field, and they're going to get him on there. I think.
But it goes again. Listen, you could sign him, but it goes back to being ready to play, being game ready, being in game shape, and he's not out there doing that. So the 2 weeks that he's missing now is 2 weeks in the regular season that he's got to make up for, because these guys have already been working for 2 weeks, so he's got to catch up. I'm not saying he's not doing stuff on his own, but it's not the same as being out there and practicing.
You're getting hit, and granted, you're not getting blasted. Well, in most cases, anyhow, but.
Yeah, nobody blasts anybody in practice anymore.
You're not in game shape. I mean, here's another situation. I see Larry. I'm a firm believer in it. But it's just not. It doesn't happen anymore. Okay, you're under contract. It's a guaranteed contract he's got. Had he gotten hurt in year one, they still would have had to pay him his $14 or $17 million that he signed for. Okay, but now he's saying, okay, well, I'm in year 4, and I don't want to get hurt this year because it could screw me next year. So you're under contract, get on the field, but that doesn't happen anymore. So
yeah, it's because they got good agents, man. They got agents out there who are willing to do this stuff. But that'll wrap up our what's happening segment. I want to remind everybody to join in this regular season for our game of the week segment, and we got to honor our sponsor here with the Jug Handle Inn. Jug Handle Inn going to be sponsoring our game of the week segment. Got wings. They are delicious. They are juicy.
South Jersey.
Best wings in South Jersey. Voted that numerous places. But again, we're thankful to be partnering up with the Jug Handle Inn this year. Again, if you guess the winning team correctly and the winning score, you will get a nice gift card from the Jug Handle Inn to be used for whatever you choose. I'm looking forward to it. Prophet, I got a good tip in here. I'm gonna try and do a show from the Jug Handle Inn later in the season, after my football season, where I can get some time to set up and stuff like that. I'm gonna try and get to the Jug, and I'm gonna do a live on-site show from the Jug, Sling'n Proffet podcast one of these nights after, like I said, after November.
Give me a little bit of notice. I'll fly up and we'll do it up there together. That'll be great.
That'll be pretty cool. We're moving on here. We got Prophet. We're in our weekly roundup segment. Go. Listen, we can't spend too much time because we're already 46 minutes into this thing, and we got to get to our weekly or our divisional breakdown, which is here. It's beautiful. It's back. Oh man, I've missed that music. I've missed that music. It's time for our weekly roundup where we review the games from the past week, key performers, maybe not so key performers, but this week is key performers. Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos. I put a graphic out there on Twitter, or I'm sorry, X, not that long ago. Who is going to be the first quarterback benched? And I put a picture of Sam Darnold. I put a picture of Stidham. I put a picture of, a couple other guys. But the majority of the people said Stidham was going to be benched. And you know what? After Bo's performance this past week, I don't think I disagree with him. Bo played most of the game. He played a lot of the game. He went 15 to 21 for 125 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions. All right, that's a nice outing for Nix. And listen, you're shaking your head over there. Stidham, if he has the starting job, he has it by a thread because this guy's breathing down his neck. What do you think?
Let's not get too crazy here, Sling. I mean, we are talking about preseason. Yeah, he's going up against second and third stringers.
Yeah.
And guess what? If he can't beat out that Jared Stidham, right? And who's the other guy?
Zach Wilson. He can't beat out them two guys. He doesn't belong on the field. I don't care if he's a rookie or a 10-year vet, okay? And not for nothing, but Zach Wilson went 10 for 13 for 117 yards. Yeah, but those were against those are the real grocery baggers in the third and fourth quarter. So don't be comparing the two because Bo was playing against top talent. All right.
Yeah, he was playing against the checkout clerks.
Yeah, another quarterback that looked good, and I didn't think he was going to, man. And I've been watching Hard Knocks too, and I just cannot get behind this guy because I don't like his attitude. I think he comes off as smug. I think he comes off as arrogant. But Caleb Williams, and I watched the game because I was intrigued. Caleb Williams looked good. All right. He went 4 or 7 for 95 yards. It's not eye-popping. There's nothing there. But if you watch the game, the flow of the game, the decisions that he made, the decisions that he didn't make, he played well. And he showed a mobile ability, and he showed the ability to drive the ball downfield. And I came away slightly impressed, and I didn't think I was going to. All right, we got a comment. I know this is from Larry because he's a big Bears fan. All right, he's agreeing with me. He looked good. And Larry, listen, I thought this was a bad pick, just like the majority of people out there. I'm saying I don't know if it's a bad pick now. I don't know that to be factual, but he looked good. I'm not saying it was a good pick. I'm saying he looked good in the game.
Let's not get too crazy here.
What else do you have to say? Let's not get too crazy. It's the same thing because you don't believe in the preseason.
He had one. You didn't think that this was the right pick. It was a good pick. But one preseason quarter changed your mind about
I didn't
that?
say that.
Come
I said
on,
he
man.
looked good. I said I'm not saying it was a bad. Like, listen, it was. He looked good. It's all I can say. I wasn't on board. I wasn't on board with the pick. He looked good in the game, and I'm giving credit where credit's due.
And I quote, "It was great. Everybody was open today." That's out of the mouth of DJ Moore. Okay, everybody was open today.
Well, maybe that tells you more about the Bears than you need to know, because they got a great receiving core. Who knows?
Or maybe it's telling you that Indianapolis didn't come to play.
Well, they didn't play Indianapolis. They played Buffalo.
Oh, that's even worse. That no good defense.
Yeah. Okay.
My gosh.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, my boy. I'm a Minshew fan. Gardner Minshew. There's been rumors of him struggling during camp. He went out there and played pretty freaking well, and he probably, he earned himself a step up in the depth chart over Aiden O'Connell. Or I can't even believe they're giving this guy the time of day, O'Connell. Minshew goes 6 for 12 for 117 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Proffet, why can't he stick around anywhere? This guy's just a solid, reliable quarterback. No,
a solid backup. That's what he is.
He's a solid, reliable quarterback that doesn't make that many mistakes.
Let's not get.
Go ahead.
Hey, come on. If he doesn't beat Aiden O'Connell out, okay, then he's not even a solid backup. Yeah.
So you think Minshew's going to win the job then?
Yes, absolutely. And Devontae Adams should get about 60 receptions this year because of it. Aiden O'Connell, he'll get 40.
All right. Well, I got Minshew winning this job, even though the Vikings eked out a victory. We got some action going tonight. I wasn't able to tune into any of it. Obviously, I just walked in the door for my own practice, but I know the Eagles are playing tonight. How are they doing? Any word?
They were down 10-3 in the third quarter. I don't know.
Oh, boy. Well, we'll talk about them more. But, hey, that'll wrap up our weekly listen, you could say first weekly roundup segment of 2024 season in the books.
And
Proffet.
I loved it. I loved it.
And we're looking forward to having it.
Back and forth.
Hey, we're going into the NFC East tonight. Highly debated topic here. We got the Giants. We're going to talk about the Commanders. I know you won't. You refuse to call them the Commanders, but you have to. All right. We got the Cowboys, and we got those Philadelphia Eagles that Coach McEwen chimed in on. He thinks that they're going to win the division pretty handily, and we'll talk about that a little bit, coming up here in the very near future. But as always, we start with our cellar dwellers of the year, or of the previous year. The Washington Commanders. They finished 4-13 last year. 0-6 in the division. They're coached by head coach Dan Quinn, who, if you're from Dallas, you remember who he is. They finished last in the division. Couple key additions. You might know this guy, Jaden Daniels, number 2 overall pick. Jerzon Newton, who big defensive tackle from Illinois, who I really liked. And remember back to our mock draft show, I really liked how he played. So I'm excited to see how he pans out. I don't know if you're on this same train with me or not, but the Austin Eckler pick up, I like it. I definitely think that he's a dynamic running back. He can do a lot. He did a ton in San Diego, Los Angeles, out of the backfield from a receiving standpoint. He can run the ball between the tackles as well. They picked up Zach Ertz, who's a veteran tight end, not probably going to give him much here. Dante Fowler and Bobby Wagner. Couple key departures. Jacoby Brissett, who you mentioned earlier. Sam Howell, their leading passer from last year. Where did Sam Howell end up? Do you know?
Seattle, I believe.
Really? Was he backing up?
Yeah.
Backing up Geno Smith. Anyway. Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson. It seems like they got rid of that whole draft class, by the way. And Kendall Fuller and Cameron Curl. Vegas has got them at 6.5 wins over under. Listen, I think they're going to be better this year. I think they're going to be better than their record last year, 4-13. I don't see them getting to 7 wins. However, I see them at 6 wins. I think Jaden Daniels is going to come in and kind of ignite this offense. I liked Jaden Daniels. I'll be honest. I like Jaden Daniels better than I like Caleb Williams. So I'm excited for that pick. You know that I'm excited for my boy Cliff Kingsbury to be there as the offensive coordinator. He's very dynamic with his playmaking ability, with his play calling ability. And he knows how to put guys in the right position. Listen, it didn't pan out for him as a head coach, but he's going back to his I bet you he goes back to his old days at Texas Tech, and he really ignites that air raid offense. And I think Daniels is going to be throwing the ball all over the field. I got these guys with 6 wins, but I got them going under the total here. What do you got, Prophet?
Well, the addition of Daniels, an automatic upgrade over Sam Howell, to say the least. It's actually an automatic upgrade over anybody they've had since 2017. Okay. I like you agree that, Kingsbury's going to get, the most out of these guys. Eckler coming in gives them a 2-headed monster in the backfield with, Brian Robinson and now Eckler. Eckler may have seen better days. I forgot about Robinson. He may have seen better days, but he's still got some play in his legs. I don't know. It could be one of the top duos in the NFL, though, the backfield.
Sure.
You got McLaurin and Dotson, gives Daniels proven and capable receivers. The O-line needs to improve for sure over last year, which they've taken a few steps to make that happen. I'll tell you what, I see this team 8-9, possibly 9-8. I'm going over with the Redskins.
Ooh, Prophet coming in with an 8-9, 9-8 prediction for the Commanders. That's big time, and I think in Washington they'll take that as progress, certainly as progress. But holy smokes, if they go 8-9-8, you'll see a lot of happy fans in that DMV area. So, talk to us about your fantasy implications here.
Well, I got Daniels as a sleeper pick, a top 8 quarterback this year.
What?
You heard it. Eckler and Robinson both about the same level. Make them your second back. Don't make them your first, because there's no guarantee to who's going to be getting the ball down there. McLaurin I have as a top 15 receiver. Dotson I've got as a top 22 receiver. And Ben Sinnott. No, it's not Sinnott. It's Sinnott. Okay. Is a sleeper tight end pick. I got him as a top 8 tight end. You said Zach Ertz isn't really a big deal. Zach Ertz is really going to be a big deal being in that locker room, giving this kid guidance. He's a rookie out of Kansas State, I believe. Watch for him. He's going to have a big year.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do like the Sinnott pick, so we'll see. Larry just let us know that Philly's up 14-13 in the fourth quarter. So got a barn burner here in the NFC East preseason. So we're moving on to our next team. Probably the most, well, I don't want to say the most intriguing, because they're all pretty intriguing in this in this division. But we're talking about the New York Giants, who finished last year with a 6-11 record, 3-3 in the division. Head coach Brian Dable, they finished third. Big pickups this year. Malik Neighbors in the draft. Theo Johnson, who I personally really like this pickup at tight end. Big athletic tight end from Penn State. He'll fill in for Darren Waller. Devin Singletary, John Runyon, and the probably the best pickup that they could have made. Well, I would argue Neighbors in that category, but the best pickup that they've done is Brian Burns coming off the edge, who is just an absolute beast for the Panthers. A couple key departures. Saquon Barkley, obviously, that everybody knows about. We'll talk about him, who wound up signing with the Eagles. Tyrod Taylor, who, it goes under the radar how important it is to have a quality backup quarterback in that room. And Tyrod has proven to be a quality backup quarterback, somebody who can step in and fill in for a starting role if anybody goes down, and he's proven to be that. So for him to be departing is a pretty big deal. Sterling Shepard leaves. Darren Waller, I believe, retired. Justin Pugh and Xavier McKinney. Vegas has got these guys at 6.5 wins. Prophet, I don't know, man. And I know, I do know because we talked before the show, but this is one of my sleeper picks to have a great year. I think with the additions that they put in place, offensively and defensively, and not for nothing, I think Dable might be coaching for his job this year. I think that's
great.
I think that's fair to say. Dable's going to be coaching for his job with Malik Neighbors on the outside. You know, you got weapons at receiver now. You got a defensive front who is who is, you know, should be better than they were last year. Dude, I got these guys going well over 6.5 wins. I got them maybe 9 or 10. And I know that might be a hot take to some, but I see a big year out of the Giants because they need to have a big year. A lot of people need to have a big year. Daniel Jones needs to have a big year, or he's going to be done. Dable needs to have a big year. He'll be, you know, hugging the unemployment line at the end of the season, if that. So what do you got on the Giants?
Well, I mean, they chose to stick with Daniel Jones. Okay. Because there was a lot of talk about them going after a quarterback in this past draft also, which, number one, you touched on both of it. That means the coach is playing for his job and Jones is playing for his job. So right there, that's going to give them a little boost, I think. They picked up Drew Lock, who I think is an even better backup than Tyrod Taylor.
That's absurd.
Well,
that I do not agree. I agree with that at all. But I don't mean to cut you off. But I gotta let you know when I don't agree with you. I gotta let you know that's Drew Lock is better than Tyrod Taylor.
Yes, and go back and look at the numbers, okay, and you'll see that what I say is correct. Okay.
Proceed.
They didn't give him a whole lot of backfield help. Okay, Devin Singletary.
I agree with that. Devin Singletary, right?
Yeah, he's a scat back type player, third down back at best, and now they're going to be giving him the rock every down because the only other player they have is a 5th round Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue, who never even heard of.
He's actually listen and take it with a grain of salt, but he's a good back at Purdue. I don't know what's going to happen in the NFL, but he was good at Purdue anyway.
Well, he may need to be good in the NFL on this team because, like I said, they have no backfield here. Their offensive line, I mean, their wide receivers, the wide receiving core is, phenomenal in my mind. Yeah, I honestly think Malik Neighbors is the real deal. Then they got, Wan'Dale Robinson, who started coming into his own at the end of the year last year. They got Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt. I mean, they're stacked at receivers. I don't know a whole lot about this Theo Johnson. Yeah, you said he's a beast. Okay, he better be because he's got to go in and fill some shoes. And if he can't do it, they got nothing at tight end. They improved on their offensive line, which was an Achilles heel last year. I mean, they gave up 80.
Yeah, they got a couple. They have a couple more signings than I put up here, but they definitely improved the offensive line.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see also Thibodeau last year played like a 1st round pick that he was he was 2 years ago. This kid's starting to come into his own too.
Thibodeau and Burns on both edges. I mean, like that's dangerous.
It is.
Yeah,
you'd
be hard pressed to find a more athletic duo coming off the edge than those two guys.
And I like you, okay, not too much, but I do like you, okay.
I like you too.
I see them at 8-9 this year. I'm going up. I like the over from this team. So,
all right. Well, we're both on the train. I got them about 9 wins, so it could go either way, 1 or 2 games here and there. So, what do you got fantasy wise for the Giants?
you may laugh. People may laugh, okay, but I see Daniel Jones as a top 10 quarterback this year.
Holy crap! I'm going to
with
clip that. Say that one more time. Daniel Jones, top 10 quarterback,
top 10 fantasy quarterback this year. Okay, between the weapons he's got to throw to and his running ability, which is going to help him get in the end zone too, because they ain't got much at the backfield. Yeah, I like Daniel Jones this year. Devin Singletary, I wouldn't touch until after the 10th round. Malik Neighbors, I have as a top 20 receiver, and Robinson and Slayton, both after round 11.
Well, there you have it. We're kind of both on the same page there with the win total. I don't particularly think DJ will be a top 10 overall quarterback, but time will tell, obviously. I do expect a better year than the Giants, and I am looking forward to attending the game in November against the Washington Commanders. So
that should be a good one.
Yeah, we're moving on here to the second place finishers in the NFC East, those beloved Philadelphia Eagles, who had the most epic collapse in, well, probably not in history, but it was a bad collapse. You know, being 9-1 and finishing 11-6, 4-2 in the division. Head coach, not for long, Nick Sirianni. That's my prediction. Just throwing that out there right now. Let's get that off my chest. I don't think this guy's going to last very long. Key additions this year through the draft: Quinyon Mitchell, nice defensive back from Toledo; Cooper DeJean, who's battling through an injury right now; Saquon Barkley; Kenny Pickett, who we always talk about, you know, having that quality backup quarterback. He's a good quarterback, and I think it was a good pickup for him. And who knows with the Jalen Hurts' playing style if he's going to be able to make it through a whole season. So I don't doubt that Kenny Pickett's going to have to step in and play at some point this year. Bryce Huff on the defensive line and Devin White at linebacker. A couple key departures: DeAndre Swift at running back, Jason Kelsey to retirement, Fletcher Cox to retirement. Hassan Reddick went to the Jets, who is in his own saga with the Jets, requesting to be traded already without even playing a game. Zach Cunningham and Kevin Byard. Vegas has got these guys at over on their wins at 10.5. Profit, there is a lot, and I don't know if you get the news like we do here. Clearly you don't, because that's all they talk about, obviously being in this area. But there is a lot of turmoil going on within the inner workings of this team, and there is friction between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And I think it's real. And I think that it's going to Larry just said Pickett got sacked like 5 times a night. Well, he played good last week, Larry. All right, thanks. Anyway, there's friction in this team. There's friction between the head coach and the quarterback, and that's never a good thing. And guess what? If history tells us anything, when there's friction between the head coach and the quarterback's going to win. The quarterback's going to win that battle. And I really see Sirianni being on the hot seat here just as much as I see Dable being on the hot seat. I think Sirianni didn't do himself any favors by the way he carries himself. He's arrogant. He's smug. And I don't think he has any right to be. People liked it in Philly when he was winning. Right. They liked his attitude when he was winning. How do you like us now? Talking to the Chiefs fan. How do you like us now? Well, you were 9-1 and then you lost. You finished 9 or 11 and friggin' 6. All right. So maybe check your attitude, check your ego at the friggin' door, Nick. All right. Take your damn bodyguard Dom with you on your way out, and get a coach in here who's going to run this team the way it needs to be run. Vegas has got these guys at 10.5. I got them at 10 wins, so I'm going under. What do you got?
What, you think that Sirianni and Dom could end up in New Jersey? If if the Giants get rid of their head coach,
they look like two characters off the friggin' Sopranos, so it's quite
right.
possible that they could end up in New Jersey. But that's about all they look like. Is well, I don't know where I'm going with that, but they're not worthy of a job. All right.
Well, Sling, I always say I want to see him do it for 2 years in a row when it comes to quarterbacks. And yeah, did we see the real Jalen Hurts last year, or did we see the real Jalen Hurts 2 years ago? Me personally, I think we saw the real Jalen Hurts last year. Okay. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in him. And the fact that there's issues there, and now another offensive coordinator coming in, I don't know. I don't see the Eagles, doing it. They tried to bring in a back. They've had good backs over the years.
I don't know what they do with running backs in Philadelphia. It's like they just let them go by the wayside. Oh, you rush for 1,000 yards. All right, see ya. Like, what do they do?
But if they're products of the system, though, Sling. I mean, Miles Sanders goes down to Carolina. He can't even get on the field. DeAndre Swift is out in Chicago this year. He's going to be on the field, but he's not going to have the year that he had last year in Chicago. They got the great offensive line, and they keep the backs fresh. They constantly change. The fact that Swift and Sanders had the years they had the past couple, or pat on their backs because they didn't get as many touches as they're going to, as Swift's going to get this year for sure. So, I mean, they did nothing to help the receiving core. They brought Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, come on. Are we kidding here? That's the answer to your number 3 receiver. I mean, yeah, they got, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They got 2 top receivers, but you need to throw the ball to other people when, these guys are covered, and you're going to be playing against good defenses. I don't know. I just see them. They could possibly go 10-7, but I see them 9-8.
Ooh, doggy. So I got them under.
I got them under. Yes, and you got them under also.
Let's go. Let's go. Listen. I'm not an Eagles fan. I live here. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I could respect them if they deserved it. I do not respect his head coach. I can't get behind him. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his personality. I don't like his coaching style. And I think, like I said, he's smug, he's cocky, he's arrogant, and he got what was coming to him last year. And hopefully he gets what he has coming to him this year, which is, I say I don't want to get any, or, I don't hope for anybody to get fired. But when you're making that kind of money, and it's not going to last long. So,
right.
Fantasy picks for the Eagles.
In bonus point leagues only. Jalen Hurts, a top 10 quarterback. If you got to rely on him for just throwing touchdowns, drop him down to about 16. I got Barkley as a top 8 running back this year. Brown is a top 12 receiver. Devontae Smith is a top 25 receiver, and Dallas Goedert is a top 8 tight end.
I do like Goddard at the tight end position there. So, Prophet's got the Eagles going over 10.5 wins. I got them going under 10.5 wins. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we're going to see how it plays out. We're moving on to our last team, which is our NFC East winners last year, finishing with a 12-5 record, 5-1 in the division, coached by head coach Mike McCarthy. Key additions, I had to put my binoculars on to find some additions that this team made. I put a couple draft picks in here. Tyler Guyton, offensive line, was in the draft. Marshawn Nealon. Ezekiel Elliott, I put on as a key addition, but I don't see him as a key addition. Same with Royce Freeman, and Eric Kendricks rounded out the addition list for the Dallas Cowboys. On the other hand, key departures were of plenty. Tony Pollard left. Michael Gallup left, which I think was highly underrated. Or maybe he wasn't underrated. Maybe they knew how good he was, but he's gone. Tyron Smith is gone. Leighton Vander Esch and Stephon Gilmore, just to name a couple. Vegas has these guys at 10.5 over under. Let's see what we got. We got a comment here. Yeah, I don't understand why they brought Elliott back either, Larry, but that just seems like a stepbrother kind of move to me. Jerry Jones bringing his boy back, in my opinion, but he doesn't really give you a whole lot at his age, and we'll see. But I know Coach McEwen talked about it earlier about how the Cowboys didn't do themselves any favors, and I'm going to second that notion. They didn't do any favors to themselves in the offseason, and they're killing themselves right now in camp with this whole CeeDee Lamb situation. There's always there's question marks about Dak. There's question marks with the running game. There's question marks at receiver now with Lamb being up in the air and letting go of Gallup. I do not see this team. Man, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this could be a 7 or 8 win team, Prophet. And that's where I'm going to go with. I'm going way under on the over or the 10.5 here. And I see them maybe 7 or 8 wins if they don't change anything. What do you got?
Well, I mean, they do have a good quarterback room. They got Prescott, Rush, and Trey Lance, okay? But their receiving core, they got a disgruntled number 1 and number 2 going into his 11th year. They got a legit tight end in Ferguson, and the offensive line. I mean, you said that Tyler Guyton. It's a good thing. It's a good thing they drafted him because he was slated as a backup for a number 1 pick. He was a backup, but now with the injuries, he is actually going to be starting this year. This team, as the D goes, so goes the Cowboys, and I think. I don't know. I mean, I looked at their schedule and I see 3 gimmies this year. And they get Carolina, Tampa Bay, and New Orleans. And
Tampa Bay is not a gimme. You got Baker Mayfield. What do you not get? What do you not get about Baker Mayfield and that he's going to lead that team to the promised land?
Okay, well, I'll take you at your word there then, okay? And I see this team with 2 gimmies then.
All right,
in Carolina and North Carolina and New Orleans, okay?
All right.
This team needs help, man. I mean, I actually have them at 8 and 9, which is an under selection.
So we're both on this. This is weird. We're both on the same page about a lot of these teams in the NFC East here. This could be the NFC South of football, right? For all intents and purposes.
And it's funny because we both kind of go against completely what what Coach McKeon said. He said he didn't see anybody moving up in this division, where we both have the 2 lesser teams from last year, doing better.
Well, listen, I don't think it's hard for the Redskins or the Commanders to move up, with what they did. They did get better, but how much better than 4 wins did they get? Time will tell. I think the big mover is going to be the Giants. And I think they could be a dark horse in this NFC East, honestly. The Eagles got to go out and show me, that they're worthy of winning the division. And the Cowboys, like I said, I don't think that that they've done enough in the offseason, and they're just hurting themselves. I don't think, and I'll go out there and say it, I don't think that the Cowboys are going to get back to that prominence again until Jerry Jones is no longer running that team, because this guy is just, he's running this program into the ground, it seems like.
He ran it into the ground when he first bought it, and then he kind of backed away from, the everyday running of the program. And I don't know whether he's back into it again now, but, they're just, I don't know. they're definitely headed in the wrong direction right now. And what I don't like Tony Pollard as a number one. I said it last year. Okay. And he proved me right. He was terrible as a number one running back last year. He's a great come in on third down. But really, your answer to getting rid of Tony Pollard is bringing Ezekiel Elliott back, who you didn't want last year.
Right.
And you brought him back this year?
Yeah. A lot of question marks with this team, especially in the run game. So hey, we're up against it here. Give us your fantasy football picks for the Cowboys.
Top 12 quarterback for Prescott. CeeDee Lamb, a first-round pick, if he signs before the season, okay? If he doesn't, he could be waiting a long time, so you could wait a long time. I wouldn't draft him. Look past him. Brandon Cooks, 12, 14 round, and I got Ferguson as a top 12 tight end. I mean, not a whole lot of action for the Cowboys with fantasy implications. Well, we didn't give. Nobody said who we have winning the division. Who do you have winning the division? And I don't think I even thought about it. But who do you got winning the division? The Washington Redskins.
No, I said who do you have winning the division?
The Washington Redskins.
All right. Well, I'm not even going to give my prediction. I don't listen. I'm just going to go with that. That's great. That's the content that we need on this show, Prophet. And I'm going to go with that. And listen, I'm just excited to see what the Giants will do because I'm rooting for them, man. I'm a Giants fan. Like I said, I got personal ties to the Giants. My best friend wife's worked for them. I'm looking forward to see what they do this year. So we'll go with that. Anyway,
so you're going with the Giants to win the division?
I have to pick.
I don't know. You asked me.
I told you this could be like the NFC South. A team could, with an 8-9 record, could win this thing. So, I'm going to go with the Giants because I cannot bring myself to pick the Eagles. So I'm saying the Giants win the division.
Okay.
I'm so confident in that. Go ahead.
It's a good pick in my mind. It really is. The two teams on the top there are the two teams that I think are going to be the better teams in this division this year. Cowboys and the Eagles, I think, are going to be having down years.
I'm so confident in my Giants pick that I'm putting $200 on them to go over 6. Oh, you did the same thing as me.
I just typed that in real quick.
We're both that confident in our Giants picks that we both picked the same pick. Hey, listen, mark that down because that's the first for so far on the Sling'n Proffet that we both picked the same teams in our $200 challenge. But listen, I don't know what Vegas is doing here. 6.5 wins. I got these guys going. Like I said, I got them possibly winning 9 games here. So they're plus 110 to go over 6.5. So $200 will get you $430 back.
How did they drop down? Because
no, I thought you said it.
They were 115 this morning when I went on and checked.
Is that what 115 is? 200 to win 430? Well, then that's what they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what.
Down after they watch this show.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. I mean, we got people in here that they're going to go lay money on them, and
we got heavy hitters that pay attention. Exactly. But the only reason that I went with the Giants instead of Washington was because of the odds. I told you last week I've been picking too many chalks, and Washington was a minus 130. So I didn't want to lay the money. I wanted to get some extra back. So that's why I took the Giants. Although I like the both of them to win for sure 8 and possibly 9 games this year. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I mean, that's our NFC East breakdown there. And I listen, I think that there's some surprises here, depending on who you ask. With how things are going to play out here with the division. I don't see the 2 top, quote unquote, top teams finishing in the top. Well,
Yeah.
let me let me retract. I got the Giants finishing number 1. I don't have the Commanders. I still have the Commanders coming in last.
You
I think
almost
it'll
said
go.
it.
I think it. Yeah, I know. I almost did. I got I'll go Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders. But the Commanders and the Cowboys are going to be close. That's my opinion. That's my expert analysis there. So
I'm going Washington, the Giants, and then it doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
Because if one of them is 8 and 9, then that means the bottom 2 teams are going to be 7 and 10 or worse. So they ain't making the playoffs.
Like I said, I see this division being another NFC South this year. But Prophet, I'll tell you what, even with a guest on the show, we got this thing in under 90 minutes. Go ahead.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm not following. I mean, I'm not keeping track for, putting towards my. What am I trying to say? Okay, I'm giving you guys some games here. Okay, last week I gave you the Eagles on Friday night, and the Eagles won and covered. The week before I gave you the over. So I'm 2-0 in the preseason, but I'm not going to be keeping track. It's not going to get into my year-to-date stuff. But this week I do have 3 plays, small plays. Do not get crazy in the preseason. I like the Bears, the Jets, and Washington. And the last thing I want to do is I want to
spread or money line here.
The spread. Yeah, the Bears are -6, the Jets are -1, and Washington's +5. And the last thing I want to do is I want to give a huge shout out to Sam Ponder. Good for you for standing up for your convictions, no matter what the cost. You have my support as the Prophet on the Sling'n Proffet podcast. And I'm not getting into it, but if you don't know who Sam Ponder is, look her up and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think a lot of everybody pretty well aware of who Sam Ponder is, and there's a lot of movement going on in ESPN today. There was a lot of stories in the news that we didn't touch on that maybe we'll touch on next week, but that's for another time, another place. Prophet, always a pleasure sit here and talk to you for however long we talk. But listen, NFC East didn't fail to disappoint.
Nope.
And there's some hot topics to talk about there. So we got AFC East next week.
AFC East next week. Big division.
AFC East. Big time division. And then we finish up with the NFC West and the AFC West. And then we're getting into our regular season. So a lot of things to look forward to. As always, we appreciate you guys joining us. We appreciate Coach McEwen joining us tonight, adding a little flair to the podcast, bringing a guest on. But again, we always appreciate you guys listening, and join us next week at our new time, our regular time now, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock, starting next week. Wednesday at 8. Don't forget it. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, all. Thank you.